7, 10. These verses, text 7. Okay, we can pretend like we're doing a tractor Bhagavatam class. Tractor realizations. So today's text number 7. 7, 10, 7. Yeah. Okay, let's do it. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Okay, let's try. Yadi dasyasi me kaman varam stvam varadhar sabha kamanam hirdi asoroham asamrohan bhavatastu vrinavaram yadi dasyasi me kaman varam stvam varadhar sabha kaman hirdi asomroham bhavatas vrinavaram yadi dasyasi me kaman varam stvam varadhar sabha kamanam hirdi asamroham bhavatastu vrinavaram. Okay, somebody try whilst I read the verse. And
Yadi dasyasi me kaman varam stvam varadashava kamanam hridyasam uroham bhavatastu vrinevaram.
okay, someone else, please.
Yadi dasyasi me kamam varam stvam varadashabha kamanam hrid asham roham bhavatastu nevaram.
Try. Yadi, if. Does Yasi want to give? May, me, Kaman, anything desirable. Varan, as your benediction. Tvam, you. Varada, Risabha, O Supreme Personality of Godhead, who can give any benediction. Kamanam, of all desires for material happiness. Hirdi, within the core of my heart. Asam Roham, no growth. Bhavata, from you. To then. Vrini, I pray for. Varam, such a benediction. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. O my Lord, best of the givers of benediction, if you at all want to bestow a desirable benediction upon me, then I pray from your Lordship that within the core of my heart there be no material desires. Purport. Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu taught us how to pray for benedictions from the Lord. He said, Na danam, na janam, na sundarim, kapitam va jagatisha kamaye, mama janmani janmaishvare bhavatit bhaktir ahutiki tvayi. O my Lord, I do not want from you any amount of wealth, nor many followers, nor a beautiful wife, for these are all materialistic desires. But if I have to ask you for any benediction, I pray that in whatever form of life I may take my birth, under any circumstances, I will not be bereft of your transcendental devotional service. Devotees are always on the positive platform in contrast to the Mayavadis, who want to make everything impersonal or void. One cannot remain void, sunyavadi. Rather, one must possess something. Therefore, the devotee on the positive side wants to possess something, and this possession is very nicely described by Prahlad Maharaj, who says, "If I must take some benediction from you, I pray that within the core of my heart there may be no material desires." The desire to serve the Supreme Personality of Godhead is not at all material. Om Gyana Timrandasya Jana Shalakaya Chakshurmitam Yana Tasmai Shri Guruvei Namaha. Vanchakalpatrubhyascha kripa sindhu revacha patita nama pavanabhyo Vaishnavabhyo namo namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasti Gaur Bhaktivinoda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Okay, so you'll have to share the class with me. But of course, as you can see, another very amazing verse and purport. So we don't have to speculate much in this material world. Yes, there's Dukayalam Shashvatam, so much of distress going on simultaneously, and of course those that have some training since birth about prayer, what do you pray for? So of course Prabhupada is hammering the point that, the Mayavadis, of course, they want to make everything void. But no, we're undergoing this material experience. Of course, we're spiritual by nature. And what can you desire? Nice wife, or nice husband, or nice children. Sometimes the mind does that. It thinks, oh, so many devotees are practicing Krishna consciousness very, very nicely in Grihastha life. And I want to be just like that. I want to also have, a nice exalted family of devotees, Vaishnavas, who are materially well qualified, well educated, have, very nice jobs. And, there's definitely many, many devotees of such caliber in the world today. But, if you start thinking along those lines, then, these material desires start to become more and more demanding. And, there is definitely no end to these material desires. So, it's very, very nicely put here by Prahlad Maharaj. And of course, Prabhupada is citing the verse from the Shikshastakam prayers, that this is how we should pray. And there's just, of course, so many nice, wonderful prayers given by so many Vaishnavacharyas of, on the subject matter of prayer. And of course, we understand prayer alone can take one back home, back to Godhead. It is one of the 9 processes of devotion that can deliver the result of going back home, back to Godhead. So in this verse, of course, we're saying that I pray that within the core of my heart there be no material desires. So how practically to do that, in our current situation? Is it a utopian idea, or is it something that you and I can practice starting even today if we haven't started already? And I think everybody can share their personal realizations on the subject. I think it's very, very practical of not having material desires. Krishna, so many things. And of course, often I use the excuse that, I want to acquire sunglasses. Now, is that a material desire, or is that a not a material desire? And so, of course, the way I try to frame it is, well, Krishna, I do this devotional service of taking care of the cows, so I need some glasses, for those days when the sun is beating down. And yes, whilst that may be a nice way of framing it, and it may be true in most cases, but then comes the other levels when I start thinking about, well, I need a name brand. It should be Ray-Ban, it should be this band, or some sort of Macy's sunglasses. And then, of course, the price starts going up and up and up. And so, at what point do we say that, hey, enough, this has now become a material desire? So I've noticed that, at least with myself, and I think, if we're all super honest, we can testify that as devotees, we've become very expert over the years, associating with each other, of making excuses in the name of devotional service. But I think the message here in both the translation and the purport, the message is very, very clear that I pray within the core of my heart. And I think if we're, brutally honest, that, we're not trying to pull over the wool on Krishna's eyes, that, he might not detect, is it a spiritual need, or is this some material desire creeping in? And know that, to the degree that we're trying to cheat the system, even if it is 1%, 99%, I'm not cheating, I'm being very, very honest, but just there is even this 1%. So this is the difference between, devotional service and pure devotional service. That when there is, this cent percent, no material desire, then we can start thinking about, getting to this realm of pure devotional service. And when we get to that point, then we can understand that there is going to be no reaction. Otherwise, even if there is a 1% desire, secret desire, that is very, very nicely covered over in the realm of devotional service, then to that degree of 1%, we'll have to take the reaction. And of course, we understand that karma is very, very intricate. And because it's so intricate, then we may not reap the results immediately, because sometimes the mind can also say, well, if I just keep adding up all these 1%, 1%, 1%, 1% over many millions of lifetimes, it becomes very, very meaningful. And if we're trying to cheat the system again, then we will suffer the consequences especially here in the material world. And so we need to be very, very vigilant about the condition of our mind. And the idea is to, of course, try to cleanse the heart of all of these coverings and, distractions on this royal road of bhakti. And of course, it doesn't happen overnight. This is why we want to get the association of pure devotees, so that we can gradually, that's of course a word that Prabhupada uses so often, we can gradually make advancement. So no reason to quit devotional service, but we should definitely understand that the material world is a very, very dangerous place. And we need to make a concrete plan, not just some whimsical plan. We also need to maybe even go to the stage of where we can write down our goals. Because once we write it down, then we can always refer to it. The mind has this tendency to forget 99% of the important things we need to accomplish in life, and it will remember these material desires we have very, very quickly and fondly. Because it's not just material desires that is the danger. What we find is that this material desire gradually also grows. Material desire never says, okay, enough. It is described in the Bhagavad Gita, it's like a fire that can never be satiated or satisfied. So if we allow these material desires to slowly grow, then we'll be defeating the goal of life. Because it's like someone who doesn't have their own interest in heart. You heard the saying, cut your nose to spite your face. And in Prahlad Maharaj's prayer, we can see that he is praying, of course, pure devotee of the Lord, one of the 12 Mahajans, and he is praying that he's recognizing that the problem is not an external one. It's not that somebody else is to blame. No, he's recognizing that the problem is actually an internal problem, and this is why he's trying to address that within the core of my heart there be no material desires. And then, of course, Prabhupada in the purport is clarifying that the desire to serve the Supreme Personality of Godhead is not at all material. Because in the discharge of devotional service, of course, like I was saying, we sometimes say this is in the realm of bhakti, but it is executed in the service of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And so it cannot be material, but hidden amongst that, hidden within the core of our hearts, these desires are existing since time immemorial. So we see in the case of Prahlad Maharaj's father, Hiranyakashipu, He had everything, right? Power, wealth, all the planetary systems he had conquered, control. He was, so many talents he had, mystics. He was able to perform all these amazing feats, um, tapasya. But we can see, classic example. Was he ever satisfied? No, he just wanted more, 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 more. And this is the nature of material desire. It continuously grows. So Prabhupada is saying that, we shouldn't become like the Mayavadis, where we have no desire or deny desire. Yes, desire is going to be there. No material, of course, people generally, or devotees even, misunderstand that no material desires means having no desires at all. No. The desire to serve the Supreme Personality of Godhead is not material. The soul is active by nature. We cannot become void, empty, desireless in the absolute sense. So we definitely don't want to become desireless. And so Prahlad Maharaj is praying that, yes, not vanquish all desires, no, vanquish all material desires. And so we want to have spiritual desires. And I want to serve Krishna. So the real problem, of course, is that we want to enjoy separately from Krishna. This is the problem. So, of course, Mahaprabhu's famous verse is quoted here. I do not want wealth, followers, beautiful companions, worldly prestige. That let me have causeless devotional service. And this is precisely Prahlad Maharaj's mood. So Prahlad Maharaj is saying, I don't want material things. I want loving devotional service. The heart must be filled with Krishna. This is pure bhakti. And of course, Prahlad Maharaj is saying, I want to continue serving you whether you give me anything or not. So we see that real devotion is not Krishna, solve my problems and I will worship you. But the real devotion comes when you say, Krishna, whether you solve my problems or not, I belong to you. So we can all pray in this way if we so desire, that we do not want to increase or have any material desires. Okay, let's hear from the devotees. What's your realizations and desires, and where to draw the line regarding the category of material desire?
Hare Krishna.
Gauranga.
I have no realization. I'm just a fallen Buddha. But I have a few thoughts
Great, please.
that I'd like to contribute. This verse, the prayer is that no material desires, but Srila Prabhupada has chosen to compare this to being desireless, even to the extent that one does not desire liberation or elevation to Vaikuntha, and what to speak of Goloka Vrindavan, just simply that wherever I may take my birth, that somehow or other there will be remembrance of Krishna. Cites Shikshastika from Lord Chaitanya. Mama Janmani Janmanishwari, that I don't mind if I have to take repeated births. I just want devotional service. I don't want liberation. I don't want even to go back home. I just want your devotional service. So there are many similar verses throughout Shastra. There is, for example, in the Narayana Vyuhastava, Srila Prabhupada quotes this in Srimad Bhagavatam. I can't recall where precisely that was now. He says that in the Narayana Vyuhastava, it is said, Naham Brahmapi Bhuyasam Tvad Bhakti Arhito Hare Tvai Bhaktastu Kito Pi Vyuyasam Janmasu, which translates as follows: I do not aspire to take birth as a Brahma if that Brahma is not a devotee of the Lord. I shall be satisfied simply to take birth as an insect if I am given a chance to remain in the house of a devotee. This idea is also expressed by Prahlad Maharaj, that he just simply wants the association of advanced devotees. Because by the association of devotees, one becomes a devotee of Krishna. And so then one gains Krishna, and there is nothing greater to be achieved. There is, oh gosh, there are probably, I can think of at least two different instances in which Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur talks about this same thing. He has written in his songs the same ideas expressed. There is, for example, Bhaktivinoda Thakur compiled a collection of songs that he wrote under the name Sri Sri Gita Mala, which means a garland of songs. In the first chapter, entitled The Ecstasies of Yamunacharya, there are many songs in each chapter. Within that first chapter, in Song 22, which is entitled Prayer for the association of devotees. He has composed the following verse. Tabe ek kata mama suno he purushottama tabadasa sangi janagare Gita janma jadi hoy dahateo dhayamoy rohibo he santushta antare. It means, kindly hear me, O Purushottama. I have a petition to submit before you. If I can just take my next birth, even as an insignificant insect within the home of your loving servant, then I would become completely satisfied. So he is also underscoring the importance and extraordinary value of the association of a devotee, even remotely. Even you're a mere insect in the house of a devotee, the benefit that would accrue to you is so great that a devotee is prepared to accept such a condition, a birth as an insect, just to get the opportunity to be in the home of a devotee. There is a lecture that Srila Prabhupada gave in 1971 in London. The occasion was the appearance day of Bhaktivinoda Thakur, and he spoke about this in response to a question that a devotee had. The devotee said, Srila Prabhupada, you say that an animal has no chance for liberation. What would happen if an animal came in contact with a pure devotee? And Srila Prabhupada said, yes, there is a chance of deliverance. And all the devotees yelled, Jai. Srila Prabhupada went on to say, yes, even an animal, because he'll hear Hare Krishna from the pure devotee. That will not go in vain. He'll give prasadam. He does not know, but the devotee, out of compassion, gives prasadam, chants Hare Krishna. He also gets the opportunity of hearing. So he'll also be liberated. One dog, during Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's time, he also became liberated. There is a history. Shivananda Sain's dog, he was liberated by the grace of Lord Chaitanya. So by the association of a pure devotee, therefore, Bhaktivinoda Thakur, there's one song, he prays to the Lord that Gita Janma How Jata Tuya Dasa. This is from Sharanagati, another collection of songs. Gita means insect. He says, my Lord, if I have to take my birth again, because a devotee does not pray to God for liberation, he simply prays that wherever I may take my birth, I may not forget you. That's all. That is a devotee's prayer. A devotee does not say that elevate me to the heavenly planets or Vaikuntha planet. No, you can put me anywhere. Just like Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, Gita Janma How. My dear Lord, I have no objection if I have to take my birth next as an insect. What to speak of human being or or other thing as an insect, but I may be in the house of a devotee. So that an insect, by eating the remnants of food left by the devotee, he'll be delivered. Gita janma hao, jata tuya, bahir mokha brahma janma nahi mora ash. I don't want my next birth as Lord Brahma if I forget you. I don't want. That is wanted. A devotee prays to the Lord that he would be able to constantly remember the lotus feet of the Lord, never mind whether as an insect or as king or as dog, never mind. That is a devotee, pure devotee.
Thank you very much for sharing those thoughts and realizations. So here's another consideration then. Are we working off the premise that I'm going to take another birth? And should that be every devotee's premise? And should we accept that? Or should we accept that Prabhupada also gave us simultaneously that we can go back home, back to Godhead, Golok Vrindavan in this lifetime? We don't have to take another birth. So I'm thinking that this is where we have to play the brutally honest card that can I go back home in this lifetime with all the information that Srila Prabhupada has given me, and this is my plan? Or is my plan, well, I am so addicted to sense gratification that I can't shake it out of my system. So yeah, it's very nice to hear Prahlad Maharaj's praise, and so many, Bhakti Vinod Thakur, so many wonderful songs and prayers are there. But maybe we'll leave that for another lifetime. So this is where each one of us on this call and all devotees around the world practicing Krishna consciousness or bhakti in one form or the other has to become honest with themselves. And this is why I repeatedly say that Krishna consciousness is a very, very personal thing. That as much as we want and rely on, advanced association, still the advanced association can't give us this can't give us or can't take us in their suitcase back to Godhead. They can, lay the foundation, they can give the encouragement, they can, give all the ingredients, but basically we have to board that plane heading for Golok Vrindavan. So I think we all need to meditate on that very, very carefully. What are we planning? I don't want to be a spoiler to burst the bubble, but ultimately that's the sum and substance. We all need to make a decision, one way or the other. What is our trajectory? And this is why, it is very, very important for us to become serious about our spiritual life. I mean, Prabhupada, of course, did give us in that purport, it did tell us very explicitly devotees are always on the positive platform. So we don't want to just paint a dismal picture of taking repeated births and deaths. We want to be positive that we can go back home, back to Godhead in this lifetime. Of course, we don't want to be like he says here, in contrast to the Mayavadis, we don't want to make everything impersonal or void. That's on the other extreme. But at the same time, whilst we're being positive, I mean, if we go online now, there's at least, I mean, someone should be able to count it, but they should be close to, or if not more than, 1 million lectures, inspiring lectures by, serious devotees, advanced devotees, whether it's Jay Shetty or whoever it is, there must be hundreds and thousands of lectures that when we hear it, we're like, wow, yes, I'm going to go back home, back to God in this lifetime. But are we really serious? Are we really making a plan to get rid of this material desires from the core of our heart? Because if that material desire is not gone or going or leaving, and if it is steadily growing, sometimes we might not even be aware of it. So how to get rid of it if we're not even aware of it, conscious of it? But it's there in the core of our heart, covered by so many different layers. We're in denial that I have this problem. We're in denial that, of so many things. So what do devotees think of that? Please share your quick thoughts and realizations on this very important subject matter. Oh, did I lose everybody?
Hare Krishna, good morning. Thank you for taking the class, Dhruva. Thank you so much for taking the class.
Back to realizations.
Yeah, which is really, when you were talking about the sunglasses, and it really made me think about, isn't it just going down to the basic level, the core of the heart? So it's not the thing. It's not that it's sunglasses. Yes, you need them. You're in the sun. You have to have them. And then you think, well, maybe I could have a better pair. Or isn't that really that at that point I need to look at that I'm identifying as the body again?
Mm-hmm.
Because it's not the thing outside of, it's that you think the thing makes the body more important or better. So now again, you're thinking you're the body. So I was looking at it that way. And then when you just mentioned about, do you have a plan and all, and I thought that's one way of looking at it. And that's way higher, I think, sometimes than where maybe I am. What I thought was it gives you hope, because Krishna has said, when Arjuna said, well, what about if you try your best, like your absolute best, and somehow you don't make it? Is it just over for you? And Krishna said, like, no, absolutely not. Like, and I always think, yeah, what kind of God would you be to go, well, too bad. Tried your best, didn't make it. So, it's over for you. He said, no, I'll put you in a family of, Brahmins, or I'll put you in a family of, merchants where you can have the time to really serve me. And I'll put you. And so when I hear that prayer, I think it's more that if by some chance, God forbid, that's what happens, the prayer is then, please, then don't let me waste that lifetime. Like at that point, please,
Right.
have enough in the core of my heart to remember you and to want to serve in that lifetime and to want to strive to get back to Godhead, not to just keep doing that over and over and over again. So it's probably a little bit more simple, and yours was very deep, and I have to think a lot about it. But that's the way that I saw that prayer, that not that you, yeah, so what, I'll come back, but more that if God forbid that happens, please let me want to serve you and not forget you. And that also when the subtleties, like you said, can make all these excuses to hide. That's what I thought of, to hide. Like you have this great motive, I want to serve Krishna, but under it I want to hide that I also want like these really nice sunglasses, or but I need them for the tractor because I'm in the sun. And it's more like, then can I look at that as an indication that I need to get humble and I need to go to Krishna and say, I'm still kind of confused. Like I'm thinking that I'm this thing that I'm wearing, obviously this body. Like I'm identifying with it because it's just something I'm wearing. And now I'm thinking that since it's something I'm wearing is so important, then so are the things I put on it, or the things that I put in it, or so that was kind of my realizations around those things and how I'm looking at them. And so then, yeah, thank you for going so much deeper, because now you've given me more to strive for. All right, Krishna.
No, yes, thank you for sharing that. Yeah, I think, but basically what you're saying is that, that is part of the plan. The plan is that should this happen, but at least you have a plan, of gradually advancing in your Krishna consciousness. And I think that's what I'm appealing to everybody, that we should all try to make a plan and write it down. And it can change, as we become more and more serious, as bhakti grows within the heart, then certain things become not negotiable. That, okay, I'm not going to be desiring a large house. I'm not going to be desiring, a pool in my house, and so many things. Gradually you can train this plan. And, when you have a concrete plan, I think that's the message, maybe, that we all need to have a plan. And just thinking about the plan is difficult to execute if it's in our head. Write the plan down, 3 sentences, 5 sentences, and then, from time to time, revisit the plan. And we all know in the back of our minds, Prabhupada said, we can go back home in this lifetime. And, just keep working on this plan. Go back to the plan book. Go back to the plan book. And, those days when you're not feeling so motivated, not feeling so positive, yeah, it's nice. Prabhupada said devotees are always on the positive platform. So we don't want to always just keep painting doom and gloom. Because, the famous thing, I think, I've heard, many persons say is that, what's with it with the Hare Krishnas, all they talk about is death. Nothing else, every conversation somehow goes towards death. But no, this is the facts of life also. It's not something that we push under the carpet. But I think, if we can all make a plan, and then from time to time, when you're alone, when you're in the association of devotees, however you feel, however you choose, revisit the plan and keep shaping the plan of how am I going to have no material desires. Because material desires means that we're going to take another birth, guaranteed. And then, this other prayer kicks in that, okay, if I'm going to take another birth, then all right, I want to be, an insect or whatever it is. And this is why we don't do good in the world, right? Good and bad. We do good, we're going to attract good karma. We do bad, we're going to attract bad karma. But in both instances, we're going to have to take another birth. So we want to engage in devotional service or spiritual activities exclusively, so that we do not start accumulating these things in our good, bad bank accounts. We want to keep making deposits in our spiritual bank accounts. And, every single thing every action we do, actually, we can categorize in one of those 3 bank accounts. So it's not just living life and waiting for the end. It's engaging in devotional service and trying to stay clear of these material desires, which keeps us entangled. Anyone else, please share your thoughts and realizations. Okay, there's no further. I don't know where the Zoom class is to end it. So maybe someone's going to have to throw me out. Otherwise, I'll keep talking. Thank you, devotees. Hare Krishna. Oh, I think I found you.